For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
On July 18, 2004, the Patterson family, Father Michael, 41, Mother Jennifer, 39, and their twin daughters Ashley and Brittany, both 13, disappeared during a hiking trip in a remote section of Yellowstone National Park. The experienced campers from Denver had been exploring thermal features off established trails when they failed to return to their campsite, prompting extensive searches by park rangers and specialized rescue teams throughout the challenging wilderness terrain. For 21 years, their disappearance remained one of Yellowstone's most puzzling unsolved cases, occasionally surfacing in missing persons databases and park safety discussions. Then, in August 2025, geological researchers studying thermal activity made a disturbing discovery in a previously unmapped mud pool that would finally reveal the deadly natural trap that had claimed the entire family during their wilderness adventure. This is the complete story of their vanishing and the treacherous geothermal feature that had kept their fate hidden beneath Yellowstone's deceptively beautiful surface for over 2 decades. July 18, 2004, began with perfect weather conditions in Yellowstone National Park, with clear skies and moderate temperatures that attracted thousands of visitors to explore the park's famous geothermal features and wilderness areas. The Patterson family had arrived from Denver 3 days earlier for their annual summer camping trip, an adventure they had been taking together for over 8 years. Michael Patterson, a petroleum engineer with extensive outdoor experience, had carefully planned their itinerary to include both popular tourist destinations and more remote areas where they could experience Yellowstone's natural wonders without the crowds that gathered at famous locations like Old Faithful and Grand Prismatic Spring. Jennifer, who worked as a high school biology teacher, was fascinated by the park's unique ecosystem and geological features. She had been documenting their trips with detailed journals and photographs that she used in her classroom to teach students about geothermal processes and ecological relationships in extreme environments. Their 13-year-old twin daughters, Ashley and Brittany, were experienced hikers who had been exploring national parks with their parents since they were young children. Both girls were comfortable with backcountry camping and had developed strong outdoor skills under their parents' careful supervision and instruction. The family's planned activity for July 18th involved exploring thermal features in the Norris Geyser Basin's backcountry area, specifically targeting lesser-known hot springs and mud pots that Michael had researched through geological surveys and Park Service publications that described features beyond the main tourist routes. The Patterson family departed their campsite at Canyon Village around 8:30 a.m., carrying day packs with food, water, first aid supplies, and scientific equipment that Jennifer planned to use for educational documentation of thermal features. They had properly registered their hiking plan with park rangers, indicating an expected return time of 6 p.m. Their intended route would take them approximately 8 kilometers into the backcountry, following established trails initially before branching onto unmarked paths that led to thermal areas rarely visited by typical park visitors. Michael had obtained special permits for off-trail exploration and had studied topographic maps and geological surveys to plan their route safely. Park Ranger Sarah Coleman was working the backcountry desk when the Patterson family checked in that morning. She later told investigators that the family appeared well-prepared and knowledgeable about wilderness safety, with appropriate equipment and realistic expectations about the challenges of off-trail exploration in thermal areas. The last confirmed sighting of the Patterson family came from other hikers around 11:30 a.m., who encountered them near the Porcelain Basin area as they were leaving established trails to explore more remote thermal features. The witnesses remembered the family because the twins were asking intelligent questions about geothermal processes and seemed genuinely excited about their scientific exploration. When the Patterson family failed to return to their campsite by 8 p.m., 2 hours past their scheduled return time, campground hosts began monitoring the situation according to standard park protocols for overdue hikers in potentially hazardous terrain. The initial search operation began at 9:30 p.m. with park rangers using high-powered lights and communication equipment to retrace the family's planned route. Yellowstone's thermal areas presented unique dangers for nighttime searching, as unstable ground and scalding water created hazards that required extreme caution even for experienced rescue personnel. Search efforts were complicated by the vast scale of the Norris area's thermal features, which included hundreds of hot springs, geysers, and mud pots scattered across several square kilometers of complex terrain. Many thermal features were unmarked and potentially dangerous, particularly for searchers operating in darkness. Additional search teams arrived throughout the night, including specialists from Grand Teton National Park and technical rescue personnel familiar with the unique challenges of operations in geothermal environments. The search expanded to include helicopter overflights when daylight conditions permitted comprehensive aerial surveillance. Search dogs were deployed along the family's known route, but the thermal area's complex chemistry and air circulation patterns made scent tracking extremely difficult. The dogs showed interest in several areas but couldn't establish definitive trails indicating where the family had traveled beyond their last confirmed sighting. By July 20th, the search operation involved over 80 personnel using advanced search techniques including thermal imaging, GPS tracking, and systematic grid searches of all accessible thermal areas within the family's potential range of travel. The investigation into the Patterson family's disappearance focused on understanding what might have caused experienced hikers to deviate from safe practices in one of the world's most dangerous geothermal environments. All 4 family members were known to be cautious and knowledgeable about wilderness safety. Detailed analysis of their planned route revealed that the family had been targeting specific thermal features that Michael had identified through geological literature, including several mudpots and hot springs that were described in scientific publications but not marked on standard park maps. Park officials acknowledged that the Norris area contained numerous unmapped thermal features that could present deadly hazards to visitors unfamiliar with their locations and characteristics. The dynamic nature of geothermal activity meant that new features could develop or existing ones could change rapidly. Weather conditions on July 18th were analyzed to determine if extreme heat or sudden storms might have created dangerous situations for the family. While temperatures were elevated, conditions were typical for summer hiking and within ranges that properly prepared visitors could handle safely. The possibility of criminal activity was investigated, though violent crime was extremely rare in Yellowstone's backcountry areas. Background checks on the Patterson family revealed no enemies or circumstances that might make them targets for violence, and no suspicious individuals had been reported in the area. Throughout 2005 and 2006, the case remained active with periodic searches during favorable weather conditions and follow-up on tips from park visitors who thought they might have seen the family. The Patterson disappearance became one of Yellowstone's most publicized missing persons cases, generating extensive media coverage and public interest. Professional search and rescue organizations contributed expertise and equipment to continued efforts, but the thermal area's unique hazards and vast scale made comprehensive searching extremely challenging. Advanced ground-penetrating radar and thermal detection equipment were used to search areas where conventional methods might miss evidence. In 2008, personal items found near a thermal feature initially raised hopes for resolution, but forensic analysis determined they belonged to different visitors and were unrelated to the missing family's case. Such discoveries occasionally renewed attention to the investigation but didn't provide breakthrough evidence. The case was featured in several documentaries about national park mysteries and became a reference point for discussions about thermal area safety and the importance of staying on established trails in geologically active regions. By 2015, 11 years after the disappearance, most active search efforts had ceased, though the case remained technically open and park officials continued to follow up on any credible tips or reported sightings that emerged from the millions of annual Yellowstone visitors. August 12, 2025, began as a research day for Dr. Maria Rodriguez and her team from the University of Wyoming, who were conducting a comprehensive study of thermal activity changes in Yellowstone's northern regions. Their research focused on documenting new geothermal features and monitoring changes in existing thermal areas. The team was using advanced geological survey equipment, including ground-penetrating radar and thermal imaging systems to map thermal features that had developed or changed since previous surveys were conducted. Many areas of Yellowstone contained thermal features that had never been comprehensively documented or studied. Around 1:45 p.m., while surveying an area approximately 2 kilometers from the main Norris Basin trails, graduate student Kevin Park detected unusual subsurface anomalies using ground-penetrating radar. The readings suggested the presence of a significant thermal feature that didn't appear on any existing geological maps. Investigation of the anomaly led to the discovery of a large mud pool hidden by vegetation and terrain features that made it nearly invisible from surrounding areas. The mud pool appeared to be a relatively recent geological development that had formed since the last comprehensive survey of the region. Most significantly, the radar equipment detected what appeared to be solid objects suspended within the mud pool at various depths, suggesting that the feature might have trapped materials or debris over the years since its formation. Dr. Rodriguez immediately recognized the potential significance of the discovery and contacted Yellowstone National Park authorities about the unmapped thermal feature. The possibility that the mud pool might contain evidence related to missing persons cases required immediate professional investigation. Specialized recovery teams with experience in thermal feature operations arrived within hours to examine the mud pool safely. The feature's characteristics were unlike typical hot springs or geysers, instead resembling a form of natural quicksand with thermal activity that could trap anything that entered its deceptively solid-appearing surface. Initial probing of the mud pool revealed that it was much deeper than visible from the surface, extending at least 4 meters down with a consistency that would make escape impossible for anyone who fell into it. The thermal activity created circulation patterns that could preserve organic materials indefinitely. Recovery operations required extreme caution due to the mud pool's temperature and unstable surface conditions. Specialized equipment was used to extract materials from the thermal feature while ensuring the safety of recovery personnel working near the dangerous geothermal environment. Items recovered from the mud pool included camping equipment, personal belongings, and human remains that appear to have been preserved by the unique thermal and chemical conditions within the feature. The preservation was so effective that items retained identifiable characteristics despite over 2 decades of submersion. Forensic analysis conducted by Wyoming state authorities confirmed that the remains recovered from the mud pool belonged to Michael, Jennifer, Ashley, and Brittany Patterson. Personal items including identification, camping gear, and Jennifer's research equipment definitively linked the discovery to the family that had disappeared 21 years earlier. The investigation revealed that the Patterson family had encountered the previously unmapped mud pool during their exploration of thermal features in the area. The pool's surface appearance would have made it seem like solid ground or a shallow water feature rather than the deadly trap it actually represented. Evidence suggested that the family had approached the mud pool to examine what they believed was an interesting thermal feature for Jennifer's educational documentation. The deceptive surface had given way when they stepped onto it, trapping all 4 family members in the thermal mud before they could escape or call for help. The mud pool's location explained why extensive search efforts in 2004 had failed to locate any trace of the missing family. The feature was completely hidden from aerial searches and was located in an area that ground teams had not prioritized during their limited search window. Personal items recovered from the mud pool included Jennifer's camera and research notes, which provided insight into the family's final hours and their excitement about discovering what they believed was a unique thermal feature worthy of scientific documentation. The discovery brought closure to extended family members and friends who had spent 21 years wondering about the Patterson family's fate. While learning the circumstances of their deaths was devastating, the evidence showed they had been together at the end and had died quickly in what was clearly an accidental encounter with a geological hazard. The case highlighted the hidden dangers that even experienced outdoor enthusiasts could encounter in Yellowstone's dynamic geothermal environment, where new thermal features could develop without warning and existing hazards might not be documented or marked for visitor safety. Dr. Rodriguez's research team was recognized for their discovery and their professional handling of the recovery operation. Their geological survey work had finally provided answers to one of Yellowstone's most enduring mysteries while advancing scientific understanding of the park's thermal systems. The mud pool where the Patterson family was found has been documented, marked, and incorporated into park safety databases to prevent similar accidents. The discovery led to enhanced surveys of thermal areas and improved visitor education about the dangers of approaching unmapped geothermal features. Yellowstone National Park officials used the case to emphasize the importance of staying on established trails and the need for extreme caution around all thermal features, even those that appear safe or interesting for scientific observation. The Patterson family's story serves as both a tragedy and an important reminder of the deadly hazards that can exist in geothermal environments, where the Earth's surface can be deceptively unstable and dangerous. Their passion for scientific exploration and education led them to encounter a natural trap that claimed their lives despite their experience and preparation. The 21-year delay in discovering their fate illustrates how effectively certain geological features can conceal evidence, even during extensive search operations. The mud pool had been completely hidden from searchers and had preserved the family's remains while remaining undetected by traditional survey methods. For Yellowstone National Park and thermal area safety organizations, the case provided crucial lessons about the need for continuous geological monitoring and the importance of comprehensive mapping of all thermal features, including those that develop after initial surveys are completed. The persistence of family members and the Park Service in maintaining the case as unsolved contributed to the recognition of Dr. Rodriguez's discovery as potentially significant when the thermal feature was first found. Their 21 years of hoping for answers ensured that appropriate investigation was conducted. The case demonstrates how scientific curiosity about natural phenomena can encounter hidden geological hazards that transform educational expeditions into deadly situations. While the Patterson family's exploration reflected their love of learning and nature, it also highlighted the need for extreme caution around thermal features. Geological research continues throughout Yellowstone, with scientists now more aware of both the park's dynamic thermal systems and the potential for discovering evidence related to historical incidents. The intersection of geological survey work and criminal investigation provided an unexpected resolution to a case that had seemed unsolvable. As of 2025, new protocols require comprehensive thermal feature mapping before areas are open to public access, and visitor education programs emphasize the dangers of approaching any thermal features that are not clearly marked and designated as safe for observation. The Patterson family's legacy lives on through improved thermal area safety measures and the continued scientific research that they had been passionate about, while their story serves as a powerful reminder of both the beauty and the deadly power of Yellowstone's unique geothermal environment.